Thousands of people are screaming your name. You feel invincible. The adrenaline is pumping through your veins. But then, in a literal split second, lights out. Game over. Forever. Most of us watch sports to see human greatness, to see records broken. But what happens when the field of dreams turns into a literal graveyard? Today, we are not talking about torn ACLs or broken ankles. We are talking about the moments where athletes paid the ultimate price on live television. From a diver who cracked his skull open on the concrete to a marathon runner who accidentally cooked himself alive from the inside out. These are the most disturbing and freakish deaths in sports history. And warning, some of these are going to make you never want to leave your couch again. Let's start with the absolute most terrifying aspect of professional sports, speed. We as humans are simply not designed to move faster than a sprint, yet we strap planks to our feet and wheels to our frames just to see what happens. And usually it's fine, until it isn't. Take the case of Nicolas Bocciate. The year is 1992, and you are at the Winter Olympics in France. You are a speed skier, which basically means your entire job is to turn yourself into a human missile. You're wearing that specialized aerodynamic helmet and suit designed for maximum velocity. You are doing a warm-up run, tucked in and cruising at a casual 68 miles per hour. You crest a small hill, expecting open snow. Instead, you see a snowcat, a massive multi-ton metal grooming machine parked directly in your path. No warnings, no barriers, just a wall of steel. At that speed, you don't have time to be scared. You barely have time to blink. Bocciate slammed into the machine with such force that he suffered massive internal hemorrhaging and died instantly. 1 minute, you're an Olympian, the next, you're gone, all because of a parking error. But at least on a mountain, you expect danger. What about a sunny bike race? In 1971, Jean-Pierre Montserrat was on top of the world. At just 22 years old, he was the reigning world champion, wearing the iconic rainbow jersey that every cyclist dreams of. He was leading a race in Belgium, heads down, pedaling at 30 miles per hour. The roads were supposed to be closed. But a confused elderly man, unaware a race was happening, drove his British car right onto the course. Montserrat was boxed in and had nowhere to go. He smashed head-on into the bumper and was launched into the windshield. He died right there on the asphalt, the rainbow jersey stained red. It just proves that no matter how skilled you are, you can't outrun a 2-ton metal box. But listen, you don't need to be going 100 miles an hour to meet your maker. Sometimes the most lethal weapon isn't a massive machine. It's just a ball. A simple, innocent ball. And the scariest part? You don't even have to be moving. All it takes is one bad bounce, one unlucky heartbeat, and suddenly the game is over. If you think about dangerous sports, you probably think of MMA or football. You definitely don't think of baseball. But travel back to 1920, and the game was a different beast. Imagine you are Ray Chapman, the star shortstop for the Cleveland Indians. You step up to the plate. The pitcher, Carl Mays, has a weird submarine delivery, throwing the ball from down low. The ball itself is dirty, scuffed up, and practically invisible in the late afternoon shadows. You lean in, ready to swing. Crack! The sound is so loud that fans and even the umpire think the ball hit the bat. The pitcher actually fields the ball and throws it to first base. You take a few steps towards first, acting on instinct. But then you just stop. You drop to your knees. A look of pure confusion washes over your face as blood starts leaking out of your left ear. That crack wasn't the bat, it was your skull. The impact drove bone fragments nearly an inch into his brain. Chapman died the next morning, becoming the only player in MLB history to be killed by a pitch. It was a tragic freak accident. But at least with a skull fracture, the damage is physical. You can understand it. What happened to Wallace Santos Sosa in 2017 is terrifying because it looked harmless. Imagine you are a goalkeeper in a heated futsal match in Brazil. A penalty is awarded. The striker blasts the ball straight at you. You don't dive. You step forward and block it with your chest like a tank. The ball deflects away. You did it. The crowd screams. You raise your arms in victory, high-fiving your teammates. You feel like a hero. And then, 5 seconds later, the lights go out. Forever. Wallace didn't have a heart attack in the traditional sense. He suffered from something called Commotio Cordis. It is a rare biological glitch. The ball hit his chest at the exact, precise millisecond that his heart was resetting its rhythm for the next beat. It didn't break his ribs or bruise his lungs. It simply scrambled his heart's electrical signal. It's like unplugging a computer while it's trying to reboot. 1 second he was celebrating the save of his life, and the next, he was gone, just because a rubber ball hit him at the wrong millisecond. But getting hit by a ball is just bad luck. What happens when the sky itself decides it's your time to go? Getting taken out by a ball is unlucky, but getting taken out by the sky itself? That is straight up Final Destination stuff. The year is 2018, and you are Septian Raharja, a 35-year-old veteran football player in Indonesia. It's a humid afternoon. Dark clouds are gathering overhead, and you can hear thunder rumbling in the distance. But hey, the referee hasn't blown the whistle, so the game goes on. You've played in rain before, it's no big deal. In the 70th minute, a light rain starts to fall. You are jogging near the midfield, focused on the play. And then, at exactly 4:17 p.m., the world turns white. A massive bolt of lightning strikes the center of the pitch. It doesn't hit the goalposts, it doesn't hit the lights, it hits you. In a fraction of a second, 300 million volts of electricity surge through your body. Video footage of this is absolutely chilling. You see Raharja just collapse instantly. At first, his teammates think he just slipped on the wet grass, but then they see it. His jersey is literally smoking from the heat. There are burns on his chest and shoulder where the current entered his body. Despite the medics rushing in and trying to restart his heart, the damage was irreversible. 85 minutes later, he was pronounced dead. He survived tackles and fouls his whole career, only to be taken out by a literal bolt from the blue. But here is the thing about lightning. It is a freak accident. It is nature being cruel. But what happens when the tragedy isn't caused by nature, but by a single horrific human error? The next story is about a split-second mistake that turned a swimming pool into a scene from a horror movie. If you are squeamish, you might want to cover your ears for this one. Seriously. Because while lightning is a freak accident, this next story is about a split-second mistake that turned a professional sporting event into a literal bloodbath on live TV. The year is 1983, and we are at the World University Games in Edmonton, Canada. Sergei Chelibashvili, a 21-year-old Soviet diver, is standing on the edge of the 10-meter platform. Now, if you have never stood on a 10-meter platform, let me tell you, it is terrifyingly high. It is basically jumping off a 3-story building. But for Sergei, this was just another day at the office. He was attempting one of the hardest dives in the book, a reverse 3.5 somersaults in the tuck position. The crowd goes silent. He jumps. The takeoff looks normal. He launches himself into the air, spinning backwards. But then, gravity and physics decide to betray him. Mid-air, Sergei makes a critical error. He opens up from his tuck position just a fraction of a second too early. This tiny mistake slows his rotation speed down. As he comes down, everyone watching realizes he is not going to clear the platform. He doesn't hit the water. He smashes the back of his head directly onto the solid concrete edge of the platform. The sound was sickening, a loud, wet crack that echoed through the entire silent arena. His body then fell limp into the pool like a rag doll. Within seconds, the crystal clear blue water around him turned into a dark cloud of red. Divers and medics jumped in immediately, pulling him from the water, but the damage was catastrophic. The impact had shattered his skull. He spent 9 days in a deep coma, never waking up, before his heart finally stopped beating. It is arguably the most graphic and disturbing death ever captured in sports. That dive was horrific because it was violent and instant. But believe it or not, there is a worse way to go. Imagine dying not because of a crash or a fall, but because you made a mistake so bizarre that you essentially cooked yourself alive from the inside out. We have talked about lightning, tragic collisions, and horrific falls. But this last story is different. It isn't violent in the traditional sense. It is terrifying because it is a death caused by a bizarre medical theory that backfired in the worst way possible. The year is 1912. You are Francisco Lázaro, a Portuguese marathon runner competing in the Stockholm Olympics. It is a brutal day. Temperatures are soaring near 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and the sun is unrelenting. You are terrified of getting sunburned and dehydrated, so you make a decision that sounds insane to us today, but was considered smart back then. You decide to cover your entire body in a thick layer of suet, basically animal fat and wax. The logic? It would stop the sun from burning your skin and keep the water inside your body. You start the race. For the first 10 kilometers, you feel strong. But as you keep running, your internal engine starts to heat up. Normally, your body would sweat to cool you down. But you can't sweat. You have literally sealed your pores shut with wax. You are running a marathon, generating massive amounts of body heat, but you have removed your radiator. You are essentially turning your body into a slow cooker. By the 30-kilometer mark, Lázaro didn't just get tired. His body began to shut down. He collapsed onto the dusty road. When doctors touched him, his skin was alarmingly hot, yet completely dry. He was literally cooking from the inside out. He was rushed to the hospital, but there was nothing they could do. His organs failed one by one due to extreme hyperthermia and electrolyte imbalance. He died the next morning, becoming the first athlete to die in the modern Olympics. He died not because he wasn't fit, but because he tried to hack biology and lost. It is honestly terrifying to think about. We look at these athletes like they are superheroes, indestructible gods among men. But these stories are a brutal reminder that at the end of the day, the human body is incredibly fragile. Whether it is a split-second miscalculation on a diving board, a freak bolt of lightning from the sky, or just a simple bad idea to beat the heat, it really puts things into perspective. Life is short, and nothing is guaranteed, not even the next heartbeat. I know this video was a bit heavy, but these stories deserve to be told. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to see more content that explores the darker side of our world, please hit that subscribe button. And if you are still craving another rabbit hole, check out the video on the screen right now. Thank you guys so much for watching.